Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. We are students from vocational program majoring in logistic management and administration at Universitas Diponegoro. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to explain our presentation today. But before we begin, allow me to introduce myself and my team members. The first member is Muhammad Faikar Al-Hakiki, the second member is Devina Oktavardani, the third member is Octavia Filzah Rahma, the fourth member is Ardelia Berlin Marella, the fifth member is Cindy Afdalatul Azkiyah, and the sixth member is myself, Syawida Wicaksono, as moderators on today's presentation. The title of our presentation is Supply Chain. Our presentation has 3 points. The first point is the definition of supply chain. The second point is the importance of supply chain. And last but not least is how COVID-19 impacted supply chain. And the first material will be explained by Ardelia.
First of all, I will explain about the meaning of supply chain. What is supply chain? A supply chain is a network between a company and its supplier to produce and distribute a specific product to the final buyer. So, the network includes different activities, people, entities, information, and resources. And the supply chain also represents the steps it takes to get the product or service from its original state to the customer. In a company develops a supply chain that aims so that they can reduce costs and remain competitive in business. Next slide will be explained by Syawida.
Thank you. And now to get to know more about supply chain, we have to understand how it works. A supply chain involves a series of steps involved to get a product or service to the customer. The steps include moving and transforming raw materials into finished products, transporting those products, and distributing them to the end user. The entities involved in the supply chain includes producers, vendors, warehouses, transportation companies, distribution centers, and retailers. Supply chain management results in lower cost and a faster production cycle. The elements of a supply chain include all the functions that start with receiving an order to meet the customer's request. These functions include product development, marketing, operations, distribution networks, finance, and customer service. And the next material will be explained by Octavia.
Thank you, Syawida. I will continue the presentation. The second one is the importance of supply chain management. It has 3 points, and it is well known that supply chain management is an integral part of most businesses and is essential to company success and customer satisfaction. And now let's move on to boost customer service. It has 4 types. That is, the first one is customers expect the correct product, assortment, and quantity to be delivered. The second one is customer expect product to be available at the right location. That is, customer satisfaction diminishes if an auto repair shop doesn't have necessary parts in stock and can't fix your car for an extra day or 2. The third one is the right delivery time. The customers expect product to be delivered on time. That is, customer satisfaction diminishes if pizza delivery is 2 hours late or Christmas presents are delivered on December 29. The last one is right after sale support. Customer expect product to be serviced quickly. That is, customer satisfaction diminishes when a home furnace stop operating in the winter and repairs can't be made for days. Okay, that's all from me. The presentation will be continued by Cindy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Octavia. And now let's move on to reduce operating costs. Reduce operating cost has 3 types. That is, the first one is decreases purchasing costs. Retailers depends on supply chains to quickly deliver expensive products to avoid holding costly inventories in store any longer than necessary. For example, electronic stores require fast delivery of 60 flat panel plasma HD TVs to avoid high inventory cost. And now the second one is decreases production cost. Manufacturers depend on supply chains to reliably deliver materials to assembly plants to avoid material shortage that will shut down production. For example, unexpected part shipment delay that cause an auto assembly plant shutdown can cost $20,000 per minute and millions of dollars per day in lost wages. The last one is decreases total supply chain costs. Manufacturers and retailers depend on supply chain managers to design networks that meet customer service goals at the least total cost. Efficient supply chain enable a firm to be more competitive in the marketplace. For example, this revolutionary computer supply chain approach involves making each computer based on a specific customer order, then shipping the computer directly to the customer. As a result, Dell was able to avoid having large computer inventories sitting in warehouses and retail stores, which saved millions of dollars. Also, Dell avoided carrying computer inventories that could become technologically obsolete as computer technology changed rapidly. And that's it about reduced operating costs, and the next slide will explain by my friend Faikar.
Okay, thank you for the explain. Let's move on explain about improve financial position. First, increase profit leverage. Firms value supply chain managers because they help control and reduce supply chain costs. This can result in dramatic increase in firm profits. For instance, US consumers eat 2.7 billion packages of cereal annually. So, decreasing US cereal supply chain costs just 1 cent per cereal box would result in $13 million, saved industry-wide as 13 billion boxes of cereal flowed through the improved supply chain over a 5-year period. Second, decreased fixed asset. Firms value supply chain managers because they decrease the use of large fixed assets such as plants, warehouse, and transportation vehicle in the supply chain. If supply chain experts can redesign the network to properly serve US customers from 6 warehouses rather than 10, the firm will avoid building for very expensive buildings. And the last point is increased cash flow. Firms value supply chain managers because they speed up product flows to customers. For example, if a firm can make and deliver a product to a customer in 10 days rather than 70 days, it can invoice the customer 60 days sooner. And the next presentation will be read by Dea. Thank you.
Thank you, Faikar. Okay, here I will explain about how COVID-19 impacted supply chains. The COVID-19 pandemic has posed significant challenges for supply chains globally. However, the pandemic has not necessarily created any new challenges for supply chains. In the aftermath of severe disruption from the COVID-19 pandemic, the survey found that enterprises in the US plan to shake up their supply chain strategies to become more resilient, collaborative, and networked with customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders. Yes, the presentation material that was delivered was complete. I return it to Shawida as the moderator.
Thank you, and that brings us to the end. To sum up, supply chain is really important in business world and very crucial for every organization. That's why we have to really understand how supply chain works for various situations like this pandemic. And that's all we have to say. Sorry if there are any mistakes. Hopefully this presentation will be beneficial to everybody. Thank you for your time and attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.